Okay, so we're gonna do Iminari. We're gonna do a breakdown of it step by step, and then we're gonna do it from standing, from a standing opponent, and then from a seated opponent. So, all right, so we're gonna start just I'm gonna break it down step by step. This is usually how I teach it, and the leg lock classes here for our warm-ups for people that are just starting. So I want to be centered. Start center line with my feet on the inside, my elbows on the inside. I'm going to offset by about 45 degrees, okay? And then I'm going to reach for this foot. I'm going to do a palm up reach, okay? Now, the most important thing here is gauging my distance. I can't be too close. I can't have like a bend in my arm, like be here and then going here, because I need to be able to spin, basically, okay? So if I'm too close, I won't be able to achieve that spin. So my target for my head is going to be kind of in front of the foot, not on top of the foot, not on the inside, not on the outside, just right in front. So the way you kind of gauge that is by the length of your arm. So that usually will tell you where you need to be. So if I can just kind of reach for it here, that'll give me, it should put me in the right spot. So I'm going to reach and I'm just going to go flat to my back here. I should have some little bit of distance right here. I'm in a good spot. My arm is stretched out. Now I want to go bring my legs over my head. Before I do that, I'm going to switch my grip. So I'm going to reinforce this grip. I have one on this side. I need to have an arm on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up and then come on the outside. So I have one arm on the inside, one on the outside. So this is kind of keeping me connected to him. So in the event, whatever I get here and he starts pulling whatever, at least I'm connected, okay? My legs go over my head. One leg on the inside, one leg on the outside. So I roll my legs over my head. One leg goes on the inside, one leg goes on the outside. Now the trick here is to have everything go outwards, not inwards, okay? Every single person that first starts doing this, I watch, they will always, for whatever reason, drop the hip this way and start going to this. This is a double outside ashi. It's not the end of the world, it's a great position, but it's not technically what we're trying to do. So, we're gonna need to bring our hips outside, okay? So I reinforce, my hips come up and I go out. Now, when I do this, I don't want to be up on my neck like this. That's not good. You should be able to talk as you're doing this, okay? If you can't talk, that means that you're too high in your neck and you're gonna hurt yourself. So I should be able to speak through this whole movement as I go, and boom, I catch. Now notice my knee here, the knee line, okay? My knee is way above his knee. My hips are up, okay? And I'm on my shoulder. Now notice I didn't knock him down because I did it very slow. Usually when you knock your opponent down or your partner, it's because of the whipping motion that you have. So the whip in and then they're gonna fall. If they don't fall, we go over that later, but if we don't fall, we'll just basically go in reverse, okay? But for the sake of the demonstration, I'm just gonna take a fall here. And this is how we're gonna land. Back this way. So this is how we're gonna land. I always teach here to land with my knee down. I always land with my knee down because I have a little bit more control in this position. If I land with my knee up, I start to lose a bit control. I can run and start escaping. So when you achieve the honey hole position, I will always instruct people to first go here, then you can start, as you can control the foot, start working into other positions, right? But you should be landing here to gain control, get the outside foot, over top, and here. This is where we want to be. All right, so one more time. Start inside, offset by about 45. I reach, reinforce. One leg inside, one leg outside, hips up, boom. And now we're here. I will always reach for this outside leg. You can always use your top leg to be reaching for things. You need to learn to use your feet here as hands, okay? So, because if Ivan's leg is way out here and I don't catch it, I can always reach and bring him back by using my foot, like so. I have to be able to push and pull here. So I can pull, now grab, now get control. Always have control of the foot first, especially in foot locks. You have to have control. You can't just go for stuff wildly, especially guys that are good. You have to establish some form of control. Okay, so I'm gonna do it just real quick in one motion, okay? From standing. So We're standing here, set. Cool. Looks cool. So that's from a seated position, kind of step by step, breaking it down from somebody standing. Now you can actually put this into action when things are actually happening. Okay, so for example, I'm gonna give one example and then we're gonna move on to both of us standing, and then Ivan's gonna demonstrate when we're seated. So we're standing, I'm playing my guard or whatever, and Ivan steps, right? He's going to pass. This is very common. He goes to pass. I have a clear angle here. So we're here, he goes to step, boom. It's that quick, right? Everything I just did right there is exactly what I just broke down step by step. You just have to be seeing the angle and seeing where you're at. That's it. So that's the basic Iminari, how I teach it, kind of step by step. And then as you get better, you can make it faster. If you're brand new at doing it, I don't recommend doing it real fast because, if you can do it really slow and controlled and get your hips up, that's what you want to do. You just don't want to just start doing things really fast. You want to break it down.
Yeah. And I also just wanted to talk about a couple of things that new people have difficulty with. First thing is going to be your grip. So you want to make sure that whenever you go for your Iminari grip, it's quite difficult to do first or second time, right? Let's say I'm going for this leg, but if I'm here, I angle. This is very difficult for new people to grasp at the beginning, right? So what I typically do is, or how I typically learned it, or show it, is even at home with a chair or something like that, right? I hit it with the back of my palm, and then I do it with the front of my palm. So I'm here and here, and then I come back, right? I offset, kind of like backhand it, and then come back. Man, boom, hand it, come back.
Notice Ivan's not using his thumb either. I forgot about that. He's not grabbing me. See this grip? It's like a monkey grip. If he uses his thumb, use your thumb, substantially weaker. I can just pull out and it's not a big deal.
Second one is gonna be whenever you do your turn, right? Whenever you come in up, you don't want to end up right here. You want to make sure that this knee goes high and your hips go high. Here. So you want to be able to kind of hang out here, right? Because you go into. And the third one is going to be as a partner, right? So if Ryan is practicing on me and I am the dummy, right? So what I want to do is whenever he goes for his roll, I don't want to leave my leg extended. So he wants to go ahead and then I'm going to come in and get a good base. That way my knee is not in trouble when we're drilling. Because I've seen a lot of people, when they're first starting, let's say they go in here and they keep their leg straight, and this can cause some damage to your knee. So whenever you guys are practicing with a partner, as soon as, let's say he goes in there, you come back and you kind of get a good base, and then let yourself go down. That way you don't leave your foot planted and your knee is in danger. So just 3 little things for you to either get it quicker or be safe while practicing it.
Yeah, that's really good. The knee, I actually saw that a few months ago. Somebody just kept the knee straight. And the hips, if the person's not good at Iminari, and the other person keeps their leg stiff, then the hips are not getting high enough. I mean, that's probably one of the major issues with people getting it, is not getting their hips over top of the knee. They actually just slam into the knee, which can cause some damage. So it's actually a good point. Like if you can keep a bend in the leg, it's actually a good target for him anyways, to get over top of the knee.
Yep.
And he can actually hang out on top of my leg, which actually makes it a little easier to actually when you're learning.
Yeah, because what you want to do is once you get the roll right, you want to land in a position already. You just want, the impact of your body and gravity to do all the work, and then just fall in the right direction, and already having that honey hole kind of, I would say 70% on, and then you can do your adjustments once you get to your side.
Okay, So now we're gonna do the Iminari from standing. Again, I recommend that you start from a seated position and break it down step by step. Don't start, it's very tempting to just run in and do it from standing. But I recommend just to start step by step, seated position. It's safer and you don't have to move as quick, right? You can really break it down. So now we're gonna do it from a standing position. So if we're standing, all I'm really looking for when I go for the Iminari, it doesn't matter how I'm engaging here. We could be tying up or whatever, right? I usually won't just go into a tie up with somebody, right? And just like get here and just kind of do this thing. I usually always, try to get lower than the guy. I'm playing the head game, trying to get, dominant head position. There's always a little bit of distance. There's some hand fighting going on, right? But really what I want to look for, I'm right-handed, so I'm usually always going to do my Iminari to the right, okay? So I can do it to the left if it's obvious, but I'm just better with my right hand. So I'll usually always target their left leg because of that, right? So, because we're mirrored here. So as soon as we're playing around, whatever, as soon as I get, whatever it may be, I get to an angle, that's when I go. And you notice I gave some distance, right? Because I want distance from him, right? The better you get at this, if you look on YouTube, and the guys are like way back here, and they run in, and they go, and they actually get it. I'm usually surprised they actually get it. But it really is because it's not a very, it's not as common anymore. It's not as common. It is more common now, but it's really unsuspecting, really. Like, if we just going here, they think I'm going to go in, but I'm actually just going to my back, going to Iminari. So it can be deceiving. So, but when I'm here, I usually want to keep a little bit of distance, and all I'm really looking for is to get an angle. Now, this doesn't mean I have to pull him to get an angle. If I do, cool. Sometimes I'll just move so that I can get the angle. It's easier for me to move myself. Now, once I do that, I can disengage. And again, it goes to the same concepts that go here. I'm looking to reach, okay? Now, when I fall, I'm actually kind of going in, okay? I'm kind of sweeping myself. So, because I don't want to be like, what it is. I want to slide in, okay? So I'm actually here, and then I go down. Boom, did you see that? It's like a sweep. So here, like that. You see how that already gets me spinning? So here, I get the angle, and then now I go in. Boom. Very quick. It's a lot faster when you're standing because you have a lot more distance to cover, basically, okay? Me dropping down, right? There's all this timing issue. Whereas if I'm sitting and I'm just playing my guard, I can play around with a little bit better. I'm more engaged, I'm closer. Standing, it's a little more, I have to go from standing to sitting. That takes a little bit of time. So Ivan, if he's wise to Iminari and everything else, he can, defend accordingly, or run, or whatever defense he wants to use. So with this one, it does have to be done kind of fast. Now, when you're learning it, again, you can slow it down. So if I'm here and then I offset, I will do like a fall break, right? Fall break. It's just all it is, really. And then I got the grip. Grip, boom, legs overhead, then here. Now notice too where my knee line is. I'm not doing this, okay? Too much distance here. I need to open my knee and have maximum knee line distance here. What you're gonna see fail is where you're failing, especially with the standing one, is you're gonna end up like here. Which goes back to Ivan's original point, which is you need to keep the knee bent, right? Because a lot of people that just start this are gonna land here. So there's a lot of pressure on the knee. So you need to, when the partner should already keep a bend, because that's gonna help me get on top of the knee. Okay, so it keeps everybody safe. So that's kind of my, it's not like there's a ton of setups. I mean, yeah, it's just open, it's just, that's the movement you want. You set it up in all kinds of ways. You can set it from a tie-up, I mean, it's endless.
There's people that jump to the ankle. Marvin Castell famously, comes in here and creates a space, kind of puts a hand out so the opponent can, veer his side to that direction, and then he jumps in for it.
Like ankle picks, guy's ankle pick, and the guy's posting on that, and he lets it, and then he goes. I mean, It's just however creative you want to get,
Yep.
which is like the rest of jiu-jitsu, I guess.
Yep. You add your own flair, you add your own style once you have the technique down.
Yep.
I mean, you know, Ryan does it more for standing, I do it more from sitting, and I've seen people just kind of push their opponent, and as they come in,
Go back.
they launch and go ahead and go for the Iminari. And now people are using Iminaris to set up other stuff. You know, I've seen Iminaris on the arm.
Yeah.
Set up an arm bar. I mean,
Yeah.
again, Marvin Castell made it pretty famous. One of the matches he had, and then everybody kind of like started using it a lot more.
Yeah, the Imanari arm, I haven't done that yet, but I've seen it, and I'm like, oh, it's in my mind now. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the creative part of jiu-jitsu, which is what I think is so addicting about it. But that's another story. But that's so standing, right? Would you want to add anything else to that? Or?
No, I mean just different ways to set it up. I mean, like I said, you can do that. You can. I always like to be as low to the ground as possible.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always think I'm gonna hurt myself when I launch myself from here. So I always like to come in here. Let's say if I'm hand fighting, right, and I pull myself to this direction, right, I'm right-handed as well. So I like to push them back, and as they come in, right, I like to come low, and then go from my side. And then once again, we end up right here, right? Do whatever it is that you want to do here. Different points of contact here, whatever it is that you like. But you know, we always typically start with regular honey hole. But yeah, I would say if you're practicing the standing Iminaris, make sure you come low. That way you're not just like flopping down. And the way I like to set them up or have them do it with a partner is my partner stays there again with this kind of stance, right? And then I look for my angle. Rather than them moving for the angle, I look for it. I come in here, and then I come low, boom, and get it. So you don't have to throw yourself right off the bat. You can just make yourself lower to the ground and closer to the leg.
Yep.
Or you're gonna have to play with it a couple hundred times before you get it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, I think naturally too, you're gonna be lower to the ground, you know, changing your level. You should be changing your levels anyways, doing takedowns. Yeah, no, yeah. So, but changing your level, super important, so you don't just hit the ground.
So now I'm gonna show you guys how to practice the Iminari with some movement rather than your opponent being still. Just so you can practice it a little bit more realistically while seated, of course, because I'm lazy. So what I would like Ryan to do is just stand up and kind of pretend that he just escaped my guard and comes in here, right? So what I like to do here is I'm gonna have either a good base, just in case if I don't decide to go for it, you know, I can come in here or I can get a dummy sweep. But typically I'm here and I like to post and actually get my hand and pretend as if I'm gonna push his head. Typically he's gonna step back. If he steps back with the foot that I thought that he would or that I want him to, which is the outside, right? If it's closer, I'm here, boom, and I go for the head, they're typically gonna put that foot back, and this is when I come in and get my Imanari, right? So here, I get my base so I can do the 45-degree angle that Ryan was talking about earlier, right? I just like to post sort of naturally go like that, right? Then I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna, you know, kind of check him on the head. That's typically the reaction, right? So when I come in here, the way I set it up is I get my my side and my butt and kind of slide this way. I slide, but I'm looking at the leg at the same time. Remember when I told you that this little exercise from here is how I learned how to do the Iminari? That's because I come in here, boom, and then I make sure that I get my legs from all the way back. And if they don't fall, right, this leg right here can come low. Boom. Let's do it from this side. So we're here, let's say the opponent standing. I post, Boom. Here, hit the leg. And you can start doing whatever fancy thing you want.
So, all right, now we're going to show it from both people seated. I always say this is kind of the harder one to learn because it's a much tighter quarters. Okay, so you really have to have a good understanding of the fundamentals of how to do it and how to break it down, like your hips and going the right direction and your grips and everything else is going to be challenged here. So. And have to be modified a little bit too. So, as you get better at things, you have to modify stuff for different body types, taller, shorter people, longer, whatever. I mean, everything has to be modified. So, so that's what we're going to do here. But again, essentially it's the same, fundamentally it's the same thing we're doing. We're just doing it squeezed in. So this is a very common situation to where somebody's in a combat base, right? And we kind of start off like this and then we go, okay? And it's a perfect time to set up an Iminari because he's giving me this leg here, okay? And there is a little bit of gap, right? So that's what we're gonna try to do is, gain that space, okay? So the way I will usually set this up, I set up tons of ways. Again, it's just how creative you wanna get. But again, I like to keep a little bit of distance here before I engage. If I see a leg's out like this, again, fundamentally, I need to take myself off of it at an angle, whether that be him or me that does that. We'll be tying up whatever. And all I'm looking to do is like what Ivan was talking about, how he did this thing here. It's the same thing. I'll do this and I'll scoot, and that's it. I already have the angle. Now, it seems like I didn't do much. I mean, I moved a couple inches, but it actually gives me a little bit of space right here to put my body, because I'm gonna fill this space right here. So now when I go in, notice I still have a hook in the center. Okay, so I've already got, this center leg here. So again, I'm gonna palm up. So palm up. Now again, everything's gonna be a little bit tighter, so I may have to reach a little bit higher, okay? Because I don't wanna be too far, but sometimes I'll reach back here, but essentially I just want my hand to go here first. Okay, like Ivan was talking about the back of the palm. I'll just insert my hand. I'm not looking to grab anything yet because there's nothing to really grab. I have to like really turn, okay? So I just put my hand here. As I turn, that's when these things are gonna start to happen. Right here, okay? Now I have a grip. Notice it's the same type of grip here. Now again, one leg on the inside, one leg on the outside. Okay, so I let the leg go just for demonstration purposes, but essentially when I'm up, I'm gonna be here. This foot should still be inserted right here. And then my hips are coming up and on top of the knee here. I reinforce my grip like we did before, and then I come up and on top, watch. Okay, again, it's very important that the knee line here that I established, especially in this seated position, because if I land in any kind of thing like this or something, Ivan's gone, right? It's a totally different thing. There's very little room for error in this, with this particular one, in my opinion, because you're not working with much space. So we're here, I'm tying up however I am, and then I offset just that right there. And now I see this gap. So I go in, boom. And notice this leg actually assists here. I'm actually kicking straight because that actually gains me a little more leg, okay? So this outside leg is not worthless, okay? It's actually doing a lot of things here. Pushing, pulling, kicking him away. There's all kinds of things we can do to start stretching him out, okay? So, essentially everything's exactly the same from standing. It's just, again, it's much tighter. And you have to get, your grip's gonna be a little, you're not gonna have initial grips first. I'm just kind of inserting my hand there, and as I'm spinning, I'm grabbing. It's really the only difference. And then of course, getting my hips up high over top, and then going down. If you notice, my hips came in at an angle, okay? So that's how I usually set it up from, and he may have a different way.
Yeah, and no, it's the same way.
Yep.
Just don't get discouraged if you don't get it first few times. You're probably gonna get stuck on your back sometimes, and people are gonna try to pass your guard. Let's say if you lift this leg right here, right, and I'm here, and we're fighting, I'm gonna come in here, right? You may just stay right here, right? And you don't do the whole Iminari, you can't. All you have to do is, if you have this foot by his stomach, you can still kick him back, and then you can go for your pass. So I don't think you lose anything by trying it. until you really get it. There's half positions that you can gain from that movement that are still going to give you some kind of advantage. If anything, you'll confuse the shit out of you.
They're gonna be looking at you like, what are you doing?
That's going to happen with any kind of spinning attack. You're not going to get it until you're going to get it. You're going to have to practice it and mess it up a couple hundred times. You know, the boogeyman back control, I've been messing it up for 2.5 years. So anything that looks flashy and cool may take a little bit more time, but it's definitely worth it.